Before we get into it, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you care about understanding how political persuasion actually works, not just who says what, but why it works on you. Because when it comes to campaigns, persuasion isn't just a tool, it's the entire game. Political campaigns don't win because they have better arguments. They win because they understand how people decide, especially when they're overwhelmed, uncertain, or emotional. And that's where psychology takes over. Let's start with a principle from persuasion science. People don't vote based on policy. They vote based on identity, emotion, and familiarity. So what do campaigns do? They don't just inform you, they frame you, and then tell a story that makes you feel like part of it. Here's one powerful tactic: identity mirroring. This is when a campaign doesn't just speak to your interests, but speaks to your sense of self. It doesn't say, vote for lower taxes. It says, people like you are under attack, and we're the ones who get it. That's not persuasion, that's alignment. And when people feel seen, they become loyal, even to a weak message. Another strategy: emotional priming. Political ads are filled with fear, hope, nostalgia, pride. Why? Because emotion drives action. And once emotion is triggered, critical thinking takes a back seat. Campaigns know this. That's why they lead with story, not stats. That's why they replay the same slogan, same anthem, same crisis narrative again and again, until it stops sounding political and starts feeling personal. Now here's a psychological trick that most people miss: the illusion of choice. Campaigns often present issues in binary terms: good versus evil, us versus them, freedom versus collapse. This limits your mental menu and nudges you toward their only reasonable option. It's not debate, it's behavioral design. Let's talk about repetition. The mere exposure effect tells us that the more we see something, the more we believe it, or at least trust it. Even if the message is flawed, your brain codes it as familiar. And familiar equals safe. That's why weak arguments repeated with confidence still persuade. Now combine that with social proof. When a campaign shows crowds, polls, endorsements, flags, chants, it signals you're not alone. Everyone else agrees. And your brain thinks, maybe I should too. These aren't dirty tricks, they're psychological tools. But when used without transparency, they become manipulative, especially when voters don't know what's happening behind the message. So here's the big takeaway. You're not just being asked to decide, you're being steered with precision. And if you don't slow down, ask questions, and reflect on how you're reacting emotionally, you might end up loyal to something you never chose, you just felt. If this helped you see political persuasion with fresh eyes, like, share and subscribe to PE3 Perspective, because people shape power, and psychology explains people.